Well, good evening, friends. Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for all the comments that have already been coming in. I am, in fact, remembering all your intentions in prayer. I always do, and feel free to always give me those prayer intentions either here during these broadcasts or at our Prayer Intentions website, prayerintentions.org. Our book, Pro-Life Reflections for Every Day, provides our little moment of devotion at the beginning of these programs, and for today it starts with John 12:32, where we read, "When I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself." Jesus fulfills this promise in the Eucharist, which builds up the church. All those receiving communion today receive the very same Jesus. God, enthroned in heaven, is drawing all these people to himself and also to one another. We become one body. We are responsible to foster the unity of the entire human family. Let us pray. Lord, continue to fulfill your promise of unity. Free us from the divisions that result from aborting children and killing the sick. May we build a culture of life. Amen. So if you want your copy of this book, go to prolifereflectionsforeveryday.com. Friends, if an unborn child could speak to us, what would he or she say if mom is preparing to abort them? Well, that's the question that our friend and colleague Mark Crutcher asked over at Life Dynamics in producing their latest tool for us, a short, powerful video. And before we show it to you, I want to share it with you here tonight. Let me give you a little bit of background. You know, the other side has run out of arguments, and Mark and I were talking about this just very recently. All the arguments that the pro-abortion side has made over the decades about how abortion would be a benefit of some kind have proven to be false. It hasn't reduced poverty or child abuse. It hasn't strengthened marriages or families. In fact, it's done just the opposite. It hasn't promoted women's health. In fact, it has done just the opposite. It hasn't enhanced women's rights. Abortion does nothing. In fact, it destroys everything that it touches. It's no benefit to anybody. So the arguments that the other side has made to kind of prop it up and to claim that it has all these benefits have all been disproven. Furthermore, all science is on our side. The science that shows us who the unborn child is, the sciences that tell us about the damage that abortion does, physically and mentally and socially as well. There's all kinds of studies. And they destroy the arguments of the other side. Philosophically, logically, there's no path to get to the conclusion of pro-choice. It's a meaningless slogan. And brothers and sisters, what this video does, therefore, is instead of arguing on a battlefield that we've already won, namely trying to show the absurdity or debunk the myths of the other side. And of course, that doesn't mean we stop talking about those things, because there are a lot of people who haven't heard that the arguments on the other side are meaningless. And so obviously we have to keep teaching, we have to keep putting forth the arguments that show that the pro-life position is right. But the point here is, this is a video made to speak on another level, to speak to the heart directly, to speak to that human connection that we're always talking about here, the fact that we have to connect on a human level with the unborn. Now, some of you are mentioning that you're going to see the movie Unplanned this weekend. That is great. I hope that you do. If you get, by the way, lifenews.com, or if you go to lifenews.com, check out my article there about this movie. Very, very important that we understand the background to it and what's happening here, that it's about the same thing I'm talking about now, the connecting on a human level with the unborn child. Once we do that, that human connection helps us to reject abortion and to say yes to life. So Mark Crutcher and our friends at Life Dynamics have created this video about an unborn child speaking as mom goes in there and gets ready for an abortion. Let's take a look at this particular video, which you can find on, of course, Life Dynamics website, lifedynamics.com, but let's take a look at it now.
You don't have to say anything. I know where I am and why I was brought here. I know that in the next few minutes, someone's going to call my mom's name and take us to the room where I will be killed. But while there's still time, I want to thank you for caring about me when no one else did. Even though you were not able to save me, you did the best you could. The only thing I ask is that you keep fighting for every baby and never stop believing that one day you will find the way to save them all. But now my time is up, so please pray for me. I'm trying to be brave. You know, I think I would have been a pretty good little boy.
As I was watching that, one of the thoughts that occurs to me is that the campaign that we do called Shockwaves, healing the shockwaves of abortion, speaks of this particular video we just saw, in the sense that one of the groups that we speak about who is impacted by every abortion are the pro-life advocates. And so these are the words of a baby to the pro-life movement, to those advocates, you and me and countless others who speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, and speaks to the grief that we have and the grieving process that we have to undertake when we are not able to save a child from abortion. Of course, the first and primary victim in every abortion is the child himself or herself. But then the pain and the damage and the devastation also go to the mom, to the dad, the grandparents, the siblings, the rest of the family, the friends, the abortionists and their staff, and to the pro-life advocates who love these children, speak up for these children, try to defend these children. And when the children are killed anyway, we, the pro-life advocates, also have to grieve. And this is a video that touches that particular pain, doesn't it? Because it's a part of a healing process, really, for us. Because the child is speaking to us. The child is thanking us. The child is reassuring us. And that's important. It's important for us to process that grief. The children we tried to save directly and couldn't save, for us to commend them to the Lord just like we assist the mom to do, and the dad, and the grandparents, and the siblings, and the whole family. And the abortionists, too, when they convert. And that brings us back to the movie that is coming out this weekend, Unplanned. I've been very involved in the particular story behind that movie, and have known and worked in various ways with Abby for a decade now. And you know, the theme of the pro-life people having pain and grief over the children that they could not save is one of the many dimensions of this film, because at a certain point, the pro-life people that are well, you see the grief and you see the concern in their hearts as they're counseling on the other side of that fence, and as they see the moms going in to have their children killed. You see their genuine concern and their pain and their grief, and then at a certain point, the medical waste disposal company pulls up and starts bringing out of the abortion mill the barrels of aborted baby bodies and parts. Treated human beings, human bodies, treated as medical waste. And the pro-life people there on the other side of the fence ask for the opportunity to pray over those babies' bodies. And that is very much actually what happens. I've experienced that exact phenomenon in front of various abortion mills where, as we were there, the truck pulled up, and in those cases they were boxes. But on one occasion, when the gentleman, the driver, was going inside to retrieve the boxes of babies, the back of the truck was wide open, and I saw the other boxes inside of there, and I and the other pro-lifers that were there did a prayer service, impromptu, right there on the spot. We were praying anyway already on the sidewalk for the babies being killed there that day, but we did a prayer of a memorial service right there over the bodies that were in that truck. These are all realities, aren't they, of coming into human contact with these babies. And these are the kinds of things that help people to ground themselves in the reality of what's going on with abortion. It's not just in the realm of ideas, abstract thoughts, or philosophical debates. No, not at all. It is in the realm of real human beings and the need to connect with them, because the more we connect with them, the more we will be ready to save them, the more we will be ready to sacrifice for them. When we see the baby, that bond is a bond of love. That bond is a bond of commitment, and that's what we need to continue to nourish ourselves, to nourish one another, that ongoing commitment to help that child. Well, brothers and sisters, so I appreciate the comments that you bring. One of you is saying, thank you, Priests for Life and Life Dynamics, for your many years of courageous service. It always, it has been many years. We've been working together, Mark Rutcher and I, since the mid-1990s. One of the first projects we did together was Lyme 5. It's a book that exposes the malpractice and various immoral activity inside the abortion industry. Case after case after case. And that's a book that's still available, and that I highly recommend to you if you want to see the truth of the saying I always say, that you can't practice vice virtuously. If your conscience is so darkened that you can take the life of a baby, you're going to be doing a lot of other bad things too. And so this book shows the sexual assault that goes on inside the abortion industry. It shows the malpractice that is absolutely rampant. It shows the immoral and illegal activities going on in regard to money and fraud in that realm. It shows the falsifying of medical records, and it shows in a chapter called Vacant Souls the devastation, the dehumanization of the abortionists themselves. And this, of course, is something that in our collaboration with Life Dynamics, we have said over and over again, that everything we need to know to end abortion is inside the abortion industry. In other words, the more you can rip the veil off, the more you can pull the curtain aside, the more that you can see what is actually going on inside the abortion industry, you have everything you need in order to convince America to reject abortion. Starting, of course, with looking at the babies themselves, looking at the procedure itself. And there's the power not only of the movie Unplanned, but of another movie which is showing publicly for the first time tonight, the Roe v. Wade movie. Now, it's being shown at a big convention in California of the National Religious Broadcasters. It'll be shown, well, in a couple of hours from now. And our own Alveda King is there representing Priests for Life, and various other, lots of people are there. We're associates of the National Religious Broadcasters ourselves. And so they'll be showing that movie tonight. That, too, shows us what's going on inside the abortion industry. And I did a program the other day, which you can go back and watch on my archive of broadcasts, where we talked about both of these films and some of the comparing and contrasting of these films, Unplanned and Roe v. Wade. Both of them are looking at the struggle over abortion. The Unplanned movie from the perspective of the abortion facility itself. How does this battle between pro-life and pro-abortion play out at the abortion mill as the two sides struggle for the life of that child? In the Roe v. Wade movie, we see the conflict between pro-life and pro-abortion playing out at the level of the Supreme Court. And we see the strategies and tactics, the machinations and the manipulations and the efforts of the pro-abortion forces led by people like that time, like Dr. Bernard Nathanson and Larry Lader and Betty Friedan, all collaborating together. And of course, Nathanson then eventually becomes pro-life, and the movie traces his conversion. You see his conversion at the end of the movie, just as with Unplanned you see Abby Johnson's conversion. And these are dynamics, brothers and sisters, that are happening to countless people. Countless people. And it is a phenomenon that the more we understand how a person comes out of the abortion industry, like Dr. Nathanson did, like Abby did, the more we understand the dynamics of that, the more we understand how to get our whole society out of the abortion industry. But we have to pull the curtain back on the abortion industry and look inside and understand what's going on and see the evil and see the lying and see the deceit and see the damage and see the danger of an industry like this. It's a business. It's an unregulated, unscrupulous industry. And it's an industry in a state of collapse. Remember when I first started working full-time with Priests for Life back in 1993, there were over 2,000 abortion facilities operating in the United States. Now, there are about 600. It's a business in decline. It's a business in the state of collapse. And do you know what they're trying to do in order to retrieve their business, to revive their dying industry? Well, that's where you find efforts like the laws that have popped up and the bills that have popped up in various states to make it easier to abort children even in the final weeks of pregnancy. Which abortions do you think bring in more money to the abortion industry? The ones at the beginning of pregnancy or the ones at the end? We have our recorded phone calls that you can listen to at exposeabortion.net that will, in which you will hear the abortionists say, well, your procedure will cost $25,000. $25,000 for a late-term abortion. Exposeabortion.net, you can listen to those recorded phone calls. Why do you think some of these laws not only are permitting late-term abortions, but also allowing non-physicians to do abortions? Well, because one of the biggest problems the abortion industry has is to find physicians to do it. So they figure if they allow non-physicians, they're increasing their chances of having somebody to do the procedure so that their facility can stay open. It's amazing what's going on. It's just totally amazing what is going on. This is an industry in a state of panic and collapse. And the last thing that those who sell abortion want us to see is abortion. Dr. Nathanson very much believed in the need to have people see abortion. That's why he made the film The Silent Scream. You remember that? Some of you will remember that. In the 80s. He made the film The Silent Scream because this was something that he he wanted to show America what an abortion is. And he said, you know, there's arguments, there's debates, there's philosophical reasonings back and forth. But to look at an abortion, you're cutting through those concepts and those slogans where it's so easy to be deceived, so easy to deceive others. Silent Scream shows an abortion in the first trimester, and then he went on with another video after that called Eclipse of Reason. Eclipse of Reason, talking about a second trimester abortion. So now in the film Unplanned, you will see on the ultrasound what happens in an abortion. The baby getting sucked down the suction tube. Do you know that abortionist Martin Haskell and another abortionist, Harlan Raymond Giles, back in 1999, testified in Wisconsin in federal court, under oath, of course, that when these first trimester abortions are done, the kind that you will see in the movie Unplanned, and when that baby is suctioned down that plastic tube and into the collection jar, which you will also see in this film, that the baby's heart can be beating for up to a minute, and that the baby dies either in transit down the plastic tube or in the jar. A beating heart. It's not just blood going through that plastic tube. It's not just some kind of tissue going through that plastic cannula into that collection jar. It's a beating heart. This is not something Father Frank or the church is telling you. This is something the abortionist is telling you. A beating heart is going down that tube. A baby is dying even in the collection jar itself. America will not reject abortion until America sees abortion. And everything we need to know to end abortion is inside the abortion industry. This collapsing and dying industry operates under the veil of secrecy, hushed, covered with a thick, heavy cloak, blinders on their eyes, and they want to put blinders on ours. Why do you think the tagline for this movie, Unplanned, is "What she saw changed everything"? Because seeing is believing. Seeing is the solution. Seeing is the reality. Now, many people will say, but Father Frank, many people see what an abortion is and they still don't care. Well, of course. Of course. That's why we're here in the first place. So many people see and don't care. Oh, yes. But here's the point. When enough people see, then enough people will care in order to end this. In order to end abortion, you don't have to have 100% of the people converted. You don't have to have 100% of the people believing. You don't even have to have 100% of the people seeing. You just have to have enough. Now, where is that magic number? What is that magic amount? How many people have to see? How many people have to be converted? We don't know. And so we keep trying to show and to convert as many people as we can. But brothers and sisters, don't be deterred. Don't be discouraged in the least by the fact that some people will indeed come face to face with the reality of abortion. Some people will indeed come and see the things in this film, or see the conversion of people like Abby, like Dr. Bernard Nathanson, whom I also knew well. And they still won't be converted. But seeing abortion and having this reality exposed will, in fact, convert enough people to bring an end to this disaster and we will. And we will. So Mark Crutcher, Life Dynamics, he has created this very, very interesting short video that is meant to touch us emotionally. Let's watch it one more time. Some of you have joined in with us a little bit later, but let's watch it one more time, and then I'll give you a blessing and wish you a good night's sleep. But this is the movie. You'll find it at lifedynamics.com. The words of an unborn baby about to be aborted. His words to the pro-life movement. Let's watch.
You don't have to say anything. I know where I am and why I was brought here. I know that in the next few minutes, someone's going to call my mom's name and take us to the room where I will be killed. But while there's still time, I want to thank you for caring about me when no one else did. Even though you were not able to save me, you did the best you could. The only thing I ask is that you keep fighting for every baby and never stop believing that one day you will find the way to save them all. But now my time is up, so please pray for me. I'm trying to be brave. You know, I think I would have been a pretty good little boy.
So we thank our friends at Life Dynamics for putting that together, and we hope it'll help a lot of people do, as we've been saying in this broadcast tonight, connect on a human level with that unborn child. Well, now through the intercession of our Blessed Mother, the Mother of Life, may the Lord bless you, may He protect you, grant all your prayers and intentions, and make you effective, strong advocates for life, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thanks for watching, friends. We'll be back with you at 9 o'clock or thereabouts tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, have a wonderful night, and this is Father Frank Pavone of Priests for Life.
But you know what? When you and I take up this call and we talk about abortion, if we speak about it in church, we're told we're too political. If we speak about it in the political arena, we're told we're too religious. If we speak about it in the world of the media, it's too disturbing. In the world of business, it's too distracting. In the world of education, it's too controversial. In the streets, it's too disruptive. So abortion, if abortion is wrong, where do we go to say so? We go into the churches, we go into politics, into the media, into business, into education, and into the streets. Some churches haven't wanted to get involved in political hassles with the government, so they've been silent on abortion. They didn't want to get involved in hassles from the government. They didn't want to take the fight to the government. So now with the HHS mandate, the government took the fight to them. And when it comes to that mandate, we've got a simple message. We will obey God rather than men. As Alveda can tell us, her uncle said one day to the civil rights movement, we've got a lot of obstacles in our way, but we're not going to let anything turn us around. We're not going to let no dogs turn us around, no water hoses turn us around, no police clubs or jail sentences, and we're not going to let any injunctions turn us around. And so today I say to you, in the pro-life movement, no Planned Parenthood is going to turn us around. No biased media is going to turn us around. No HHS mandate is going to turn us around. No Obama administration is going to turn us around.